Today we carry on looking at the free sound editor and recorder Audacity, looking at how to make round and ostinato patterns, as well as going on sound walks and make story-based compositions. Let's go. Hey guys, I'm Anthony and this is EdTechMusic, where we look at delivering curriculum music with more engagement and fun. Today's part 2 of my series on Audacity. All the links are below to anything that I mention, so let's get into it.
Last week we looked at learning Audacity and what all the various controls do and how to set it up to record, as well as recording our first piece and then looking at multiple tracks to record body percussion.
The next thing we can do is learn to make rounds and sing in rounds. So here I've added an audio track, remember from that generate and then rhythm track tool here. And that's this top track. And then I've recorded myself singing against it the start of First You Make Your Fingers Click. So let's just hear what that sounds like.
First you make your fingers click, then you stamp your feet. Both hands slap your knees and clap on the beat.
Okay, so once I've recorded that first vocal line, next I could go to the tracks and add new and generate a new mono track again. And I could either use the record tool to sing over the top so that I'm adding the second layer of the round myself, or what I can do is start to teach children to edit with Wavetable. So here I'm going to grab the part of the recording that I want. That's the part where I actually sing. And then I'm going to edit and copy it and go down to the new track. And this part here on
Both
beat,
hands slap your knees
there
and
we
clap
go.
on the beat.
That's the part there where I'm going to want to paste it. And let's see if that fits.
Make your fingers click, then you stamp your feet. First you make your fingers click, and then you stamp your feet.
There we go. And actually, by building up over time, you can see here I've done this several times already. Let's unmute those. We can now build up our round.
First you make your fingers click, then you stamp your fingers click, then you stamp your fingers knees and then you stamp your fingers knees and then you stamp your knees.
Okay, so that's the first way that I can use Audacity to help make rounds. The next thing we're going to do is look at how this can be used to help teach ostinato. So here's a different song.
My paddle's clean and bright, flashing with silver.
But I've now built up layers of the round here. You can see these second and third lines here that I've muted out. But I've also then developed the idea of ostinato with some body percussion down below. So let me unmute these two tracks here that I've also recorded.
My paddle's clean and bright, flashing with silver. Follow the wagon's flight.
And then let's unmute the other tracks that I've also recorded so that we get an idea how these fit together.
My paddle's clean and bright, flashing with silver. Follow the wagon's flight. Follow the wagon's flight. My paddle's clean and bright, flashing with silver. Follow the wagon's flight. Follow the wagon's flight.
And you can clearly hear the ostinato of the fourth part, dip, dip and swing there, that I've repeated just by singing it once and then repeating it with the copy tool and pasting as well. The next thing that Audacity is really good for is found sounds, or going on sound walks. Now, if you've got a portable device that will run Windows or Mac or Linux that is robust enough, you can do what I'm doing in this little clip and you can go out and use it to record found sounds that you can then bring back, and you can get these ready for the class. But what's much more fun obviously is to take the class out in groups maybe and record those sounds together. So something you can do at this time that's particularly useful is to use Audacity to combine recordings. So if you've got a choir, perhaps, that can't get together at the moment, everyone can record their own vocal line and then they can send you those recordings and you can drop them all into Audacity and really easily level them and match them together. Doing this against a backing track that people play through their own headphones is probably the best tip to get this to do well. Podcasting in Audacity, of course, is something that can always be done really well and doesn't require any particularly specialist equipment beyond just, again, your microphone. And if you are an instrumentalist, particularly a pianist or guitar player maybe, then as I am in this video, you could be recording your own backing tracks that you can then use later for soloists and for choirs. And that can work really well, particularly at a time when it's difficult to get together to rehearse. Another really useful tool built into Audacity is the ability to change the key or the pitch of a piece of music. So whether you're dragging in backing tracks like we did before with the MP3 files, or whether you're recording your own accompaniments like we did a minute ago, from the Tools menu you can go to Change Pitch and you can actually raise or lower the pitch of the recording. Now if you do it a little bit, it's not very noticeable. If you try and change the pitch wildly, then it will start to have an impact on the quality of the music, but it's something that can be done. So that's from the Change Pitch menu. You've also got Change Speed, which will also affect the pitch a little bit, but you can change Tempo, which won't affect the pitch, it'll just affect the speed. So there's some really customizable tools in there that you can use once you've highlighted a piece of your recording to go back and use to edit.
Little Billy's mother was always telling him exactly what he was allowed to do and what he was not allowed to do.
Something else that's great that you can do with that Change Pitch tool is to use it when you record your own stories. So you can record yourself reading a story in Audacity, and then when it comes to the character voices, you can highlight the part of the recording that is maybe what the characters say, and then you can use the pitch tool to make your voice higher or lower depending on the character. And this can be really exciting and fun, and kids really engage with it. You can teach them to do this when they're recording their own narrations as part of maybe a composition that is based on a story as well. Little Billy said.
Greetings, Little Billy.
Don Minnie said.
You are welcome to look into some of the other rooms if you wish. We're very proud of them.
The next facility that's really useful in Audacity is to be able to export as different file types. So once you've dragged your files into Audacity or recorded them yourself, then you can go to the File menu, go to Export, and then there's a range of options. Probably the most popular ones are to export as MP3 or WAV, because depending on what you want to do with the file, those are the two that most different programs will be able to work with. Another useful tool is to try to make your own karaoke or backing tracks. So to do that, it takes a little bit of finessing to get the hang of it, but once you drag your track into Audacity, then you can select the whole track, go to the Effect menu, and you want the Vocal Reduction and Isolation option, which is quite far down the menu. And with that, by trying out changing the sliders a different amount, it uses the idea that the vocals tend to be panned to the middle of a track and identifies the sounds that are panned to the middle of the track and tries to remove those for you. Sometimes it can be very successful, sometimes not so much, but it's a tool that is worth using if you're struggling to find a backing track for the song you want. And lastly, let's look at some of the volume tools built into Audacity. So first of all, let's have a look at what happens when you've got a track that might be far too loud or far too quiet. Well, let's go to Effects again, having highlighted it, and this time we're going to go to Normalize. And there's some options in here that we can tweak if we want to. Let's see what happens when we choose that option. And you can see it's just ever so slightly adjusted the outer limits of the track to make them within a more normal range. Something else we can do if we want a track to start gradually is to highlight the beginning of the track, and let's go to Effect again, and this time we're going to go to Fade In, and you can see it's faded the track in there. Let's see, quite often we might want a performance but the track might go on longer than we intend, and then we can go to Effect, having highlighted that, and choose Fade Out, and there you can see the track is gradually fading out. And lastly, there may be part of a track that is simply far too loud or quiet, so having highlighted that part for yourself, you can then go to Amplify. And obviously if you move in a positive direction, it's going to make the track louder. If you move in a negative direction, it's going to make that part of the track quieter. And there you can see it's reduced the volume there of that track as well. So it's cold and dark and wet and early. And probably this is the best time to introduce to you this week's book, which is Start With Why by Simon Sinek. Now, this is a really interesting read, not just about why we get out of bed early in the morning to go to work, but mainly about choosing the why for everything you do. And it helps you to stitch together the different aspects of your life, from family to work, and the different aspects of your job over the years, and find a direction through. So let's have a look at that book together. First of all, it talks about working hard for something we do not care about is called stress. But actually, working hard for something we love is called passion. And this can be a really interesting idea around doing something that you believe in. There are two ways, it says, to influence human behaviour from a leadership perspective. The first of these being to manipulate people, so through bribery and carrots or through use of power, and the second way is to inspire it. And this is the core idea of Start With Why, is to, not just as an individual or an organisation, consider how it is you form inspiration. So, first of all, it's not about what you do, it's about why you do it. The idea being people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it, and what you do simply proves what you believe. Now, it says if the leader of the organisation can't clearly articulate why the organisation exists in terms of beyond its products or services, then how does he expect the employees to know why to come to work? And from a professional viewpoint, being aware of duality or not walking your talk, I think is essential, especially in education. So with that in mind, the book says that often people start thinking about what they do, in terms of their job, and that leads to ideas about how to do it, and eventually maybe some thoughts about why, but that this is backwards. As it says on the tin, starting with why gives you something that you can use as a yardstick to measure whether you're working on something that's important to you, and also a dial to know whether you're moving in the direction that's important. So the book explains your why needs to cover everything in your life. You don't have a separate why for your family and for work. So I know it's important to me to make time to be with my family and do things like go for a walk. There they are, up there, waiting for me. So how do I encompass a why that covers all areas of what I want to do with my life? So for values or guiding principles to be truly effective, they have to be verbs, it says in the book. Articulating our values as verbs gives us a clear idea. We have a clear idea of how to act in any situation. So when we tell people to do their jobs, we get workers. But when we trust people to get the job done, we get leaders. And to me, this is about ownership, not just for others, but also in terms of owning what we do. And a clear understanding of why we're doing it helps us to own it. So how does this apply to an individual? Well, let me look at my why. If I think my why at the moment, which I'm still working on very much, is fundamentally a belief that technology can democratise education, then how do I live that why? Well, currently, I train the teachers of the future. I support existing teachers to embrace new tools and thinking. And in terms of the what I do, well, I'm deputy head of a school that is a teaching school. I work with online and face-to-face training, and as a speaker, as a YouTuber and course presenter. And through those models, it means that if my what changes over time, which it invariably will, as long as I understand the core why, then I will continue to feel like I have ownership of what I'm doing and I'm moving in a direction that's important to me. Those who forget why they were founded show up to the race every day to outdo someone else, instead of to outdo themselves. And this is a core idea of the book as well, that when you show someone else why you're doing something, they're more likely to help you move forward with your direction. And I think this applies to individuals. Jobs change, organisations and employers change. It's a clear understanding of your own why that lets you weather these changes without feeling aimless and without becoming victim to other people's whims. A clear understanding of your own why allows you to see opportunities and offers clearly in light of how they relate to your greater long-term intentions. When you feel like a passenger, a clear why keeps you driving your bus. So in terms of, in teaching, where progression on career can be confusing or led by the needs of your organisation, and where family priorities can mean changing schools and often core philosophies of learning, a clear why helps you move in a direction you choose. I've linked the book in the description below, and I'd really encourage all educators to consider reading it and work out your core ideals as well, your why. So that's everything for today. If you got value out of this video, please smash that like button and consider subscribing so that you get new videos each week, and also helps to build my brand and point other people towards my content. There's a couple of videos appearing on screen now that might be useful to you too. Otherwise, thanks for watching and see you again.